Right now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yet again, today we're going to be talking about TikTok pajama drama, aka Pajamas. I don't even know how many videos I've made about pajama drama literally just within the last few weeks. It feels like it's far too many, but we have enough one today. And in fact, this is actually a follow-up from a video I made a few days ago at this point where I was mainly talking about jewelry drama, but we also spoke about a TikToker called Madeleine who had recently re-released a brand called See You Tomorrow. So this is the brand right here. As you can see, she has made pajamas to sell. Now, originally, if we go down further, they actually launched this brand earlier in the year, but there was a lot of backlash. This was mainly to do with the prices. The cheapest item they were actually selling at the time was $130 odd, and the quality of the products wasn't very good in a lot of people's eyes. A lot of people claim that these were made with the cheapest materials, sold at a very premium price. There wasn't a full size range either. That was a big criticism. And the launch basically became a disaster. See You Tomorrow stopped selling. We didn't really hear anything back for ages. A lot of people just thought that she was giving up on the brand because of the backlash. But a lot more recently, this month, she decided to relaunch it, and she actually did so with this video right here that we spoke about in our last video. Now, I'm not going to go through this full video because we spoke about it in the last one, and we do have a lot to get through in today's video. But what she basically said in this video was that she previously worked with a company who had worked with a lot of influencers in clothing. They said they would be able to do all the technical stuff with her pajamas. She just has to tell them what she wants basically. And long story short, she claims that they basically lied about how much these items would cost, said that they would have to charge way more than they really would to make profit, and they would have to use the cheapest materials to make that profit.
Which I had allowed them to do because I trusted that they worked in the business for 20, 30 years and I had never worked in the business. So when somebody told me, no, if you want to release a modal pajama set, that would be $400 plus, I believed them.
And overall, this explanation video, to me at least, came across really well. It seems like she takes responsibility throughout this. She says look, I'm telling the story, but it's my fault. I didn't do my due diligence, and it's my fault that this happened. And then Madeleine basically ended that video by saying that she's learned from that situation. She's now got a new team that work a lot better with her. She can sell stuff at a much cheaper price with better quality, and this new launch is going to be way better. Well, it turns out this new launch has received quite a lot of backlash too, and one person in particular was not very happy with this new launch is a TikToker called plzdontbuythat. Now, from what I can tell, this is a TikToker who reviews products. She buys clothing, reviews them. She has a background in this as well. She said in one of her videos, and I quote, that she was an apparel designer for one of America's largest outdoor retailers and developed hundreds of millions of dollars of product at retail. So she has a background in this, right? So when she starts making videos reviewing your product, more specifically here, See You Tomorrow, and she points out problems that she has with the product, it's not the best look. Now, we do have a lot of videos to get through here because this all actually started when Madeleine first uploaded that explanation video talking about the situation. And this was before Mallory, I believe her name is, actually received the product, right? So this was kind of her first impressions before receiving the product, and clearly she's not very impressed.
I got so many comments about the Madeleine White brand relaunch, and I went and looked, and oh no. Before I say anything else, this is 100% my opinion based on my experience as an apparel designer and developer and or public information.
Okay, so as someone who doesn't really know much about clothing at all, I'm wearing a plain white t-shirt here. I know nothing. I didn't really know what she was pointing out here, but she goes on to explain.
This is not at all a dig at her, but this top right here would have failed inspection for me as a tech designer reviewing this. Do you see how the Where is Right body panel right here, the front panel is about 3/8 inch longer than this panel, and you see this gapping happening here? That shouldn't happen. It's modal, yes, it's a very slinky fabric, but this can be easily avoided with the right construction, and the lengths should not vary that significantly.
Okay, so clearly she thinks it might be a quality control issue here with the construction of the products, and this is obviously one that Madeleine is wearing in the video as well. Never mind the ones that are actually going to be sent out to people. Also, Mallory gave her thoughts on the fact that Madeleine in her explanation video said she's going to do a full size range this time, and Mallory says it's going to be interesting what happens here because these products, this style of clothing, she says is made for slimmer bodies, and she hopes that Madeleine and her company don't just add an extra few inches and assumes that works for bigger people.
However, she did mention and really place an emphasis on the fact that they did extended sizing. She said extra small to a 3X. And from my perspective, my professional opinion, these are all garments that really only make sense for a very, very slim body. And I'm not saying she did this, but there are a lot of brands that really capitalize on marketing themselves as size inclusive and having extended sizes when they don't actually properly fit the extended sizes. They don't have a fit model for those extended sizes. They just grade patterns beyond the standard size run of an extra small to an XL. Plus size women often have much bigger breasts, much bigger hips, and they deserve a fit that makes sense for their body. So I'll be very curious just to see, her imaging online, if she truly did fit those extended sizes on fit models and get input from women who are actually plus size.
Well, it turns out we did get some answers in regard to the sizes, and in fact, in Mallory's next video, she talks about the sizes and says her predictions were actually right.
Madeleine White's brand, See You Tomorrow, just relaunched, and I am owed an apology from every single person who said I was being too harsh in my original video, because I don't think I was being harsh enough. My prediction about the extended sizes was not only correct, but I actually severely underestimated just how whack the extended sizes were going to be.
And now at this point, she actually goes on to compare the measurements for the sizes compared to other brands that actually do plus size clothing properly.
This is the same size chart they give on every single image, and you can see here what she called 3XL, XXXL, is a standard numeric size in the US, 22 to 24, with a bust of 42 to 44 inches, a waist of 35 to 37 inches, and hips of 50 to 52 inches. Let's just compare those measurements to other brands who standardly carry plus size clothing.
Okay, so she shows quite a few brands in this and compares them. I'm not going to show them all because it goes on for a bit, but if you do want to see it all, obviously you can go over to the Please Don't Buy That TikTok account. But just to give you an idea, on Madeleine's clothing, the bust is 42 to 44 inches. On this website, it's 50 to 52, which is a big difference. The waist on Madeleine's clothing is 35 inch to 37 inch. On this website, it's actually 44 to 46. Again, big difference. The hips are pretty similar, but again, the bust and the waist seem very different, right? So this is a big criticism from Mallory. So her point here is if you are making like plus size clothing, it's not as simple as just like adding a few inches on. You've got to actually bear in mind like the body type. It's not as easy just being like, right, well, add like 2 inches on each type of measurement. And in fact, Mallory actually goes on to say that they just didn't do their research with this.
So when I was talking about companies that just grade beyond the standard size run of an extra small to an XL, this is what I'm talking about. They just added on a couple inches, like clearly they did not do the industry research. And she was very proud to say they had extended sizing. So if you are going to make that statement, make a marketing effort to be inclusive in your brand, you need to have the data to back up what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if that is a big part of your marketing, which it did seem to be, right? That was kind of like a big point in her video. We're going to do like plus sizes, all this type of stuff. If you're going to have that as a big part of your marketing, you would think that they would do the research into the sizes. Now, again, this is all stuff from Mallory's video, right? I definitely do not have a background in this type of stuff. I don't really know that much about clothing, like I said before, so I don't know 100% the logistics behind everything. This is just from Mallory's point of view. Now, at this point, we actually see the first of many replies that Madeleine gives on these videos, and she actually commented on here saying, there could have been much kinder ways to approach this, but I will take this back to the team and adjust our sizing going forward. I mean, to be honest with her saying like it could be much kinder ways to approach this, I didn't feel like Mallory was being unkind in any of these videos. I feel like as the situation goes on further, you'll see it seems like it does get a little bit more like heated between the two, like passive aggressive comments and stuff like that. But at this point it seemed pretty calm to me. And in fact, in this reply that Mallory gives to this comment, she is saying like she wants Madeleine to do well, like she's just trying to give her like her thoughts on this situation from her experience.
This video is for Madeleine White. If you're not Madeleine White, you can hang out, but I just wanted to talk to you directly. I want you to hear me say that I want your brand to do well. I have looked at dozens of influencer brands over the last few weeks, and you personally, and your mission with your brand, I feel like is the first one I've seen that truly wants to do this right. However, I still believe that you don't have the best partners for you and for your brand, because if you did, they wouldn't have advised you to make the size chart that you did.
And in fact goes on to say that she would be more than open to work with Madeleine or have like a FaceTime call to kind of speak about some stuff.
I will work with you. I will have a FaceTime call with you and give you more of my opinions and thoughts that I didn't even share in that video, because I want you to hear me say, once again, I want this brand to do well for you. Number one, you have the aesthetic. Your pieces, your design language appear very, very unique to me, and like you really have a strong brand to stand behind. And that means something, because a lot of influencer brands are simply blanks or direct knockoffs just being thrown with their logo on it. And I don't see that in your brand whatsoever.
But I guess Madeleine didn't take her up on the offer, which is fair enough. But I feel like it's at this point in the situation where things start going a bit weird with like the back and forths, right? So Mallory uploads this video saying, not Madeleine White's designer messaging me and gaslighting me, blaming the size chart numbers on a graphic design error. Prepared to pause to read. Okay, let's do so. When we made the size chart, I sent it to my graphic person with all of the size listed out, and she did not follow the size chart I sent her. We then fixed it, and unfortunately the incorrect size chart was uploaded. Shortly after the launch, I asked the web team to fix it. This was done after you took your screenshots, but does reflect the correct sizing. The garments were all fit on a size smaller and size XL. The styling and fit is definitely younger, nothing like Lane Bryant, but I have launched multiple brands including plus size, and I can assure you that the fit on these is great all the way up and down the size scale. A graphic error was made, not a sizing one. Okay, right, so they're basically saying that the sizes are done properly, they've done their research, but for some reason when they sent the numbers to a graphic designer, they just made up numbers for whatever reason, I guess. I mean, that could definitely be true. I guess we'll never really know. It's obviously just like, whose word do you believe? But it could be true. Now, looking on a bit further, Mallory seems to have replied saying, why would a graphic designer not follow the size chart you made? That doesn't make any sense. Do you have the screenshots of those emails to prove that? Yes, I do have questions about factory. What ethic practice do you have implemented that go beyond the bare minimum of what the law requires? And also, if the size chart thing was an error, why did Madeleine not say in her comment to me and instead stated that she'd adjust this moving forward? And you've got to remember, right, this is before Mallory's even received the product. This was all happening after Madeleine made her original video, kind of like giving an explanation as to what had happened, and Mallory's just giving her thoughts. Now, at this point, Mallory has received the items, and I think it's fair to say she wasn't impressed. Now again, these things we're going to point out is obviously Mallory's point of view. I imagine there will be some people, because I've seen it in the comment section of these videos, saying that Mallory is like biased because of this situation with the back and forth. And then on the flip side, there's a lot of people that absolutely 100% believe her. And I mean, with some of the stuff she does show, like, it's not really disputable. There is some stuff that doesn't look right. So yeah, throughout this part of the video specifically, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below on what you think, because this is obviously the first time we're seeing the new and improved pajamas, right? So at the start, Mallory does say that the packaging is actually really good.
First things first, I'm going to call out great packaging when I see it. This bag does have polymers in it, which will help it decompose a lot faster. So shout out to her for buying a decent poly bag. And
then we actually see the first piece, which is actually like a viscose pajama set, when even though on the website it said it was silk. Now this is something that Mallory doesn't actually point out, like the whole point that it said that it was silk on the website, but later does it in a different video, and we hear a big back and forth about that later on, which we will get to. But yeah, just for some added context that's not mentioned here, this is made from a different material than what was stated on the website.
Yes, these are viscose spandex. Trash. These win for worst construction so far. I thought Mallory Irvin's and My Sundays were horrific. I thought before the mems were horrific. No. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know I said I'm not a professional in clothing by any means, but I don't feel like it's supposed to do that.
And I think these were like $98, like they're like $100 or something at least.
$100, yeah. I don't even, how does that even happen? Like, I can see it happening, sorry, that's the wrong way to put it, but how does that get past, like, the checks, you know, before it's shipped out? And Mallory even goes on later in this video to show that it's not even just, like, the one side, it's, like, both sides of this piece that have the same issue.
Oh, and mind you, like, this wasn't just a one-side mistake, like, this is happening on both sides, where this piping here didn't get cut, trimmed, and serged, like... What?
Yeah, I mean, that isn't a very good look, especially when you're buying pajamas that are like $100, right? We're talking about expensive products here, and I guess like the whole thing we mentioned in the last video is like, of course you can sell products for more expensive if the quality actually matches that, then that's fair enough. Higher quality items are going to cost more, everyone knows that, right? But obviously if you are going to be selling products for a higher price, people are going to have higher standards, and you can see why people would have a problem with something like that happening. Now at this point, Mallory says that every piece should have been inspected because Madeleine said that she was selling like low amounts of clothing, and then goes on to show some more problems.
I don't know what kind of quantities she did. She said she did low quantities. So with that in mind, and with the price points these are at, they should have done what is called a true 100% inspection and inspected every single garment for a pass or a fail. I am one piece in. It is a hard fail. Look at this hem here, like how wavy the stitching is. Do you see this? It was just turned and stitched. Over here, it's even worse. Actually, you know what's hilarious is I just found the audit sticker. That means this was checked and it passed. So the quality standards are garbage.
Okay, so it was checked apparently, right, with like the sticker, and this was a pass to them, which I guess is kind of worrying, right? If they're saying that it was inspected, but then it's got these two, I don't even know what you call them, like sticking out right where the stitching where it hasn't been cut. that is a bit confusing to me. And there is quite a few more problems that Mallory mentions in this video. We're not going to go through them all because this video would be far too long. But again, I'd recommend checking this out on the Please Don't Buy That TikTok page. But one, for example, she mentions like the bows that are on the shorts and says that these should have been burnt.
Also, these bows are really cute. Like, oh, cute until you unroll this. This is a raw edge, okay? This, fray. See how that's gonna fray? That should have been burnt. Burn the edges so it didn't continue to unravel. On the top here, we have the same bows that are going to continue to fray and unravel.
Mallory then goes on to show more stitching problems.
Really subpar, construction everywhere. You can see where they got off track there. I really wish they would have doubled the fabric here at this part. I don't know if I can say that word on TikTok. The way they literally just made a seam, serged it, like...
And then ends the video by saying that one of the pieces is completely see-through, which then becomes another big debate later on for back and forth between her and Madeleine, which we will get to. And then she also reads a tag. It says that it can be like machine washed, which she says will destroy this clothing. And this, right now, as she's unboxed it, is the best it's ever gonna look.
I'm so sorry, but this looks like a Forever 21 dress to me. Both just in the construction and the fabrication. It is completely see-through. You can't tell on camera. It is, well, you can, here you go, you can see.
I mean, yeah, you can tell on camera. It is completely see-through. And look, I guess, right, some pajamas might be see-through, like, depending on what type of pajamas they are. But again, this becomes like a big debate later on where Madeleine is saying they're not. And I mean, if I just pause it here, they clearly are, right?
And again, being viscose, like, this is the best it's going to look. It's going to continue to deteriorate over time through wear and wash. What do they say for the care instructions? I'm sure lay flat to dry. Machine wash cold. That one said hand wash. These say hand wash, but this 40 GSM fabric says machine wash. This thing would get destroyed in the washing machine. What are they talking about? Tumble dry low. What?
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say she wasn't very impressed. And you remember earlier when I mentioned that the website says that it was actually silk, and then on the tag it's saying that it's not. Mallory then makes a follow-up video talking about this, or at least showing it.
You're right. Madeleine, you're gonna get fucking sued. You better change that. Here's the dress, okay? 95% viscose, 5% elastane, the spandex. Cotton, more lies. Madeleine. What's going on, girl?
Also, turns out it wasn't just a website that said silk as well. In Madeleine's video, she also said it was silk.
Okay, next up, this is our late night chemise. This is our new silk chemise. It's actually 92% silk and then 8% spandex, just to give it a little bit of stretch.
And then because of Mallory pointing this out, of course, Madeleine commented again and kind of like give an explanation for this, to which she said, I see you have now made 7 videos about us and counting, but for the 3rd time just on this topic alone, the chemise is silk and was mislabeled. You received an email about this. Okay, so this is again something that's been mislabeled. Obviously, the size chart was apparently mislabeled as well, and now the labeling on the clothing is also mislabeled. Which again, could definitely be true. Like, I'm not doubting that for a second. I've never felt the fabric. Even if I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. But it is a bit of a cause for concern that a lot of things are being mislabeled, right? But either way, Mallory does actually respond to this comment.
It's about one too many passive-aggressive, condescending heart comments for me. And you have to understand, I have now caught your company and specifically your factory owner in several lies. So that's going to result in the public losing trust in you when you're not willing to take accountability for those things.
And then Mallory also asked Madeleine to address the other stuff like the construction and the fabrication of the products.
But the fact that you're going out of your way to comment this on every single one of my videos and not address the fabrication or the extremely bad construction is so telling.
And now at this point we get a response to the fact that the clothing is see-through, or at least one of the pieces is, right? And Madeleine says, it's not see-through, that's why, hope this helps. This is because she's replying to a comment from someone saying like, I thought she said like it wasn't see-through, so she said, it's not see-through, that's why. Obviously in Mallory's video here, she is showing that it is. I mean, look, the piece that Mallory got is see-through. Like, you can't dispute that, right? It's a fact. And in fact, on this video, Mallory says, Madeleine has officially blocked me. This was the last comment I had saved to reply to, lol. Yeah, I'm having to show, like, the comments on these videos because I can't find them anymore, so I don't know if when Madeleine blocks Mallory, her comments are also deleted, or if she just deleted the comments herself, I'm not sure. But because this situation has got so big, Madeleine, 21 hours ago as I'm recording this video, has now uploaded a response video to all the criticism. And I haven't even seen this video yet, right? So it's my kind of like live reaction to it all. So let's see what she says.
Tomorrow pajamas, fresh out of the mailer together. I will address some of the concerns that have been brought. I really want to stick up for myself and my business here because a lot of the things that we've been accused of today are just not fair. There are certain things that we can 100% improve on and things that were our fuck up, such as the mislabeling of this chemise. That's completely unacceptable. I obviously had no idea that they were labeled as viscose. They are, I promise you, silk.
Yeah, look, right, if I had to put money on it, which I wouldn't, I'm not that certain, but if I had to, I would say that I believe that the products probably are silk and it has been mislabeled for whatever reason. I could be wrong. I just feel like that is kind of like a very confident statement to make when there is people out there that if they receive the product, would be able to probably work out and tell you, like, if it is actually silk. I mean, again, I don't know enough about this type of stuff, but it would just feel wild to lie about the material when I assume there are people that would be able to prove it, so I want to believe it.
The criticism that we got is that some of this hem on the bottom does not lay flat. This is a very stretchy, soft knit. It's extremely hard to ever get this 100% straight. I will absolutely communicate that with the factory and work on it. We can definitely improve this and we will be improving it.
Okay, right, before we go any further, right, she's clearly pointing out the parts that people have pointed out and said, like, these were wrong and whatever else, and she's saying, like, certain bits are not finished and whatnot. And she is saying that we are going to fix this, which I feel like does obviously deserve credit here. She's not being overly vague where she's just saying, oh, there was some concern, so I will fix it. She's actually like physically pointing out the concern, which I think, like I said, deserves credit.
I need you guys to also understand something like this is basically guaranteed with any garment that you buy. There is no such thing as a perfect garment, and I'm gonna prove it just with stuff we have laying around the house. These are Andrew's All Saints trousers. Nice, right? They're finished properly. He loves these pants. He wears them all the time. If you flip the pocket upside down, we're getting unfinished edges, exposed interfacing. This edge is not finished. We have a loose unfinished edge here. Kate shorts, $1,000 plus short.
Okay, first of all, $1,000 short is crazy. I'm sure they're absolutely lovely, but $1,000 is mental. But either way, I think she's got a bit of a point here, saying like you are going to find problems on clothing as well. But I think also people have every right to point out the problems, especially like the parts that she, again, I don't really know, like the unfinished stitching that was like sticking out on both sides, and it has like a quality check sticker on it as well. That is kind of like a point of concern, surely, where you're like, okay, you've said you've done a quality check on this product but completely missed this. Are you sure you're not just throwing the stickers on and saying that you've done a quality check?
Also, the suggestion that this chemise is sheer because if you put a graphic t-shirt underneath, you can read the letters. I'm gonna be so for real with you right now. Are you gonna wear this chemise with a hoodie underneath? Or are you gonna wear it just like this? Can you see my nipples? Can you see my underwear? I'm not wearing nude undies, I'm wearing gray undies. You can't see them. I have a super bright light on. If you were gonna see them, you'd be able to see them. That is what is important here.
Okay, so it's like a semantics type of thing, right? So when we're saying that it's not see-through, we don't actually mean that it's not see-through. We just mean that certain things you can see through and certain things you can't. Which is fair enough, you probably wouldn't wear a hoodie under something like that, right? So yeah, fair point, but that also doesn't mean it's not see-through, but I get a point, right? It's just about how literal you want to be with the word, I guess. But yeah, people can make their own opinions about that type of stuff.
With finishes like this is a very standard finish on a pair of pajamas, but we can improve this. And if you guys say, hey, we want this to be sewn right here, we can sew it. All those finishes cost money, and we made decisions like this to try and keep the price point down. Yes, there are things that we can still improve on. However, if you compare where we were at 7 months ago to where we are now, we have made such huge, tremendous improvements on the product and on the price point.
Okay, yeah, so before we get to the last bit of this video, I think that is also a fair statement to make. From what I can tell, it does seem to be a lot better than where they were before, when they were selling like really cheap products for a very expensive price. And yeah, some of the stuff that's been pointed out might be like nitpicking, really, right? It might be kind of like looking for something to have a problem with. I think for me, like the main things that kind of needed to be addressed were like the sizing and whatnot. I haven't seen a video from someone who has bought like a 3XL, for example, and said if it actually does fit correctly or not. So I don't know what the answer is to that, because obviously with the response, they're saying that the chart was wrong, but the actual clothing is made to fit like 3XL. So it'd be interesting to see if that is true. But yeah, let's watch the end of this video.
We're a small business. We're 100% women operated. Every single person that works on our team is a woman. Our product developer, Jamie, who has been dragged through the mud like you would never believe, who has 25, 30 years of experience in the apparel business. She has worked at some of the biggest apparel brands of all time, very successful apparel brands that I can reel off to you if you guys really need it. Only 3% of venture capital goes to women-owned businesses. It's really hard being a woman operating a business, and I would really suggest to you guys to let us have a shot. Give us a try. If you add up our first launch and today, we've been on sale less than 3 weeks. There's always ways to learn and improve, and I want to have a really great business, and I'm sure you guys all know that and can see that from all of my videos about this business. I'm really passionate about it, but I would really appreciate the opportunity to try.
Look, I think that's completely fair. I don't think this type of stuff should write off a business and she shouldn't be allowed to improve, right? It's a new business, they're going to make mistakes. But I also do think that people should be able to point out like the mistakes with like the size chart and whatnot and like the mislabeling. Like people should be allowed to point that out. But again, I don't feel like it should ruin the business by any means. I think that is maybe just one of the cons of being like an influencer creating a business, right? There's many positives in the sense that you can get the business up and running straight away. You probably have a lot of money if you're a big influencer and you already have a big fan base who will buy anything that you sell. But the one negative of that is people are gonna be a bit more picky. Like, you've got a big audience straight away when you're still learning, and that is just kind of one of the negatives to it when it has a lot of positives too. So yeah, with that being said, and all the information that we spoke about in today's video, I would love to know your opinions in the comment section down below on everything that we spoke about. Do you feel like this is like a for the members too? Do you think it's not that deep? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like on it, subscribe if you are new, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.